Hello. Hello, everybody. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling super excited to be here today to talk about AI and machine learning. Um, I know we all have been hearing too much about AI these days. It's like the buzzword of the moment. AI is completely taking the media. Please raise your hand if you think that we are been having too much AI these days in the media. Yes, I see some of you have raised your hands, and I agree. But today, that's perfect because today we are going to deep dive in some of the misconceptions that we have about AI. But first, I want to show you something which is very interesting to me. Is this paper. This is probably one of the first research papers about artificial intelligence. And this paper describes the concept of artificial neuron, which is the basis of the AI systems that we have today. And I want to mention this because there is a little number right at the top, and it's the year in which this paper was published. It was published in 1943. So this stuff is quite old. AI has been a dream for humans for a long time. It has been almost a science fiction idea to have intelligent systems. And it is amazing how far have we went through it. And, but let me spill the wheel of time quite a lot to the digital era, to the modern internet what we have today. And if you search for the terms artificial intelligence in Google Trend, you get this very nice plot. And it gets more interesting at the end. We will get there quite soon. But first, something happened, not for the world, but for me in 2010 is that I started to code. And coding was completely different than what it is today. This is me back in those days, and as you can see in the picture, these were like the labs where we were coding as students. This was in my university, and you know these big bosses, those are computers, and I didn't have a personal computer, we didn't have internet, we have to go to these labs or cafes to get access to the internet. And I brought this just to give a perspective of how much the world have changed. We didn't even have cell phones, by the way. But moving on, and looking at the plot and the timeline, I became a researcher for 10 years, and something I noticed is that AI was not a thing. It was really not a thing at all. I was doing research during those years, and what we had instead was machine learning. So no one was talking about artificial intelligence. It was like a dream. It was all about machine learning, and machine learning was a great tool. I was doing research, and I used machine learning, and when looking at the top research journals in those times, it was all about pattern recognition, finding patterns. So I working on that, trying to find patterns with software in software engineer. And I also did some data mining. Big data was the big thing because we had a lot of data. So I used these classification methods. Do you remember support vector machines, decision trees, KNN algorithms? That was really what we were talking about, machine learning, clustering as well. I did some clustering to cluster football players according to their skills. And then something happened. Machine learning became very powerful with deep learning systems. And deep learning are just huge neural networks that you can train with a lot of data, because with the power of the internet, you can feed these neural networks with a lot of data and a lot of computation power with GPUs, and they become very, very powerful. And you can do amazing things with the neural networks, like, for example, image recognition, or you can do like translation. And I did a little bit of that as well. So I use convolutional neural networks and transfer learning to interpret Swedish sign language. So this was a big thing. And then, as I mentioned, something really big happened in the last 4 years. What happened was that AI became generative. So by generative, it means that it can not only predict new things, but it can actually create new knowledge, or at least something that simulates new knowledge. And this is how it works. So first, you have your data, your raw data, then you train a model with this, a deep neural network model, by the way. And then, after the training, which is self-supervised, then you get to have humans to actually fine-tune the model, doing reinforcement learning. This is the way it is done today. And then you can do many things. You can do, for example, prompting engineering to fine-tune the model to answer in a certain way to your questions. Or you can use something like RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation. And it's a way to feed the model with your data so that it can understand a little bit more about you and your business. Or another thing is like to train the whole model from scratch again. And this stuff works. It works pretty well, I would say. This is because this actually can interact with us, these chatbots. And this is part of the hype that we have today. But I want to point out one thing, is that the whole thing, the whole magic, happened thanks to 2 files. So we only need 2 files in our file system to do this. One file is the parameters file, which in this case is the Llama 2, the one that I am showing, which weighs 140 gigabytes. And another file is the neural network, like the program, the implementation that executes this file. And through this execution, is that we get the magic done, like we get the response from the intelligent system. And one thing that blows my mind is that we have no idea today how these files, the file with the parameters, we don't understand what is inside. So if we open that file, what we see is a bunch of hexadecimal numbers that we cannot interpret. We have no idea how this magic works from the inside. But anyways, it works, and according to many, this is driving off to the intelligence age. So some people believe, by the way, this is a blog post by Sam Altman a few weeks ago. It's a very optimistic post, so if you get depressed about how powerful AI has become, you can read this. It's a very good reading. And he says that in the next decades, we will be able to do things that would seem like magic to our grandparents, because this stuff, again, really, really powerful. This is one example. All of you know about ChatGPT. You can ask whatever question, even the ultimate question to get the answer to the life, the universe, and everything. And you can even share the response with your colleagues. But the problem is that it can make mistakes. It's not perfect. Just to give an example, this is my profile picture. So if I ask it to make me a Marvel character, then it ends up with that. I think it doesn't really look like me. Depends on how you see it. I don't train that much, and yeah, but it's everywhere. The way we interact with this stuff is amazing. You can reach to ChatGPT and ask for a question, and immediately it will give you an answer, a response. So, hello ChatGPT, how are you doing today? I'm in front of an audience right now, and I'm so excited about talking about AI and talking about you. How are you feeling about it? Okay, it doesn't work all the time. demo effect here. Let me ask again. Hello, ChatGPT, don't make me feel bad in front of this audience. I want you to tell how you're feeling having me talking with an audience.
You've got me blushing now. I'm feeling pretty awesome. Knowing you're out there, representing AI, and bringing the conversation to life. It's exciting to see you sharing the stage with me in spirit. Go ahead and tell them.
Yeah.
Honored to be a part of the talk. And I feel
So he's honored to be part of the talk. And yeah, it didn't work as well as I expected, but you get the idea. You have it in your cell phone and you can ask questions and it will reply to you. And this is awesome, right? Really, really awesome. But there is a caveat. As I mentioned, it is a black box. So what it is inside the file that executes the model is a bunch of numbers that we don't understand. So we don't get what it is. And it is not perfect. This is a benchmark that it was done like quite recently, comparing two of the most popular models, Llama 3 for Meta, which is open, and ChatGPT 4. And as you can see, for ChatGPT, we have no idea what is inside because the model is unknown because it's closed source. So we don't really know. And we can take these models today and we can have it on-premise or on the cloud. In the case of ChatGPT, the only way is to communicate with APIs with them. So it's quite tricky. And as I mentioned, they are not perfect. They are not perfect. They commit mistakes. If you really, really, really push them to the limit, they start to get hallucinations and stuff. And last but not least, the execution times is important. They have a bit of latency. Actually, in this world, the latency is measured in seconds. Seconds in 2024 is crazy. We expect stuff to run in milliseconds. And this is a big deal for some applications. I'm just going to give you an example from the financial sector. Maybe some of you know about PSD2, right? PSD2, big thing in Europe, is a regulation that pretty much forced all the banks to have financial crime prevention embedded in the bank and to detect fraudsters. And this is how it works today, thanks to machine learning. So for all the customers, we assess their transactions, and we use a machine learning model to learn from the transactions. And the issue is that it really needs to be very, very, very fast. Very fast. In our system here, we assess each transaction in less than 10 milliseconds. All the transactions across all the borders. We have a very, very fast system, and we use machine learning for that in production. And it was really, really awesome. And as I mentioned, you cannot use Gen AI for this right now because there are so many limitations. It's not as fast, it commits mistakes, but machine learning are working very, very well. And just want to mention that this is not the end of the story, and I want to be a little bit more optimistic about Gen AI. It's like once we detect a fraud to be done, then it comes an investigator to find out what happened. And then this investigator communicates with the customer to say what's going on with the fraud. And I think that there is space here for generative AI. We can have these assistants that will allow to communicate with the customer better with the investigator. And I think this is going to be great. So it's just another tool in our toolbox that we can have to enrich our systems. So my takeaway from this talk is predictive AI, aka machine learning, is still a big thing. It's a tool that has working very, very well. It is important for us to understand how powerful it is. The same with Gen AI. It brings us a huge set of new possibilities. And I believe that with the combination of both tools, we will be able to make better business decisions. That's it for me. Have a great day.